The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johns.
Hello and welcome to Simply Southern. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. Coming up later on today's show, Sidney Phelps of Bonnie Plants will join us here in the studio once again to answer gardening questions submitted by our viewers.
Alabama is one of 15 states where pecans are grown for commercial use. And no place prepares pecans more perfectly than Priester's in Fort Deposit.
Everything's good. Just the cinnamon pecans. That'll be a law against that. Lord, that is so good.
They may be in different hemispheres and separated by the Pacific Ocean. But when visitors from down under toured local farms, Alabama and Australian farmers realized they can still learn a lot from each other.
Sometimes the challenges are just different, depending on where you live or what climate you live in.
But be sure to stick around for an underground adventure as we tour majestic Cathedral Caverns next.
What sustains us? Food? Family? Faith. Alabama farmers live those things every day. They conserve our resources, clothe our families, and fill our tables. They cultivate jobs for our communities and values for our future. Farmers grow it all right here in Alabama.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
One of the things I love about this show is being able to show off all the amazing things our state has to offer. Most of these are pretty straightforward. But folks, sometimes we have to get down deep to bring you the goods. This stark and strange world of shadow and stone looks like something straight out of a science fiction novel. Well, except for the guys in the golf cart. Taking a tour of Cathedral Caverns, I wonder what must have gone through Jay Gurley's mind when he first laid eyes on these forests of towering rock back in 1952. Apparently it was enough for him to spend the rest of his days developing this incredible underground world to share with the general public.
Even though there were earlier civilizations that were actually around inside the cave, he was the one that found the big connecting passage that went to the rest of the cave that extended it for miles beyond its known path at that time.
In the late 80s, the state purchased the property, opening Cathedral Caverns as a state park in the year 2000. The name was given to the caves by Jay Gurley's wife, who thought its majestic rock formations resembled church columns. While Alabama is home to an amazing number of cave systems, Cathedral Caverns might be the prettiest you ever have the chance to see.
I've always considered caves to have like their own personalities, like people and all. This particular cave is very friendly right up front. There's a lot to see once you get in here. The first half of it is just gigantic in size. But then as you get to the back half of it, it is so heavily decorated. You literally have to walk around the formations. The tallest room in this cave is 123 feet. That means you can put a 11-story building in here and still have room left over.
Underground waterfalls, subterranean rivers, and colossal stone pillars are just a few of the fascinating things to see on a walking tour of the caverns. Shark's teeth can still be seen stuck in the stone from when this area still sat beneath the ocean. Goliath is one of the largest stalagmites in the world at 45 feet in height. And then there's the popular Cathedral Room, featuring a majestic forest of geological splendor.
We've actually traveled with the military around the world and seen other caverns, and this was spectacular.
It was beautiful. A lot of stalactites and stalagmites. The cathedral that they lit up was absolutely beautiful. I've been at Mammoth Caves, I've been to Marengo Caves, I've been to a lot of caves. This one is the most beautiful. I truly believe that.
We're very heavy in conservation. The whole idea was not to change the cave, but to change us. So the pathway curves around formations instead of going through them. The park system has come in, and we're actually a number of research projects going on inside the cave, getting us a better understanding of what it's like.
So folks, if you think a cave is just a dusty hole in a rock, you just haven't been hanging out at the right cave. Alabama state parks include beautiful lakes, rivers, and forests of trees, but there are also many wonders below to see.
One of the astronauts said that the moon was not real until man could actually step on it, could feel it, could touch it. When that happened, then it becomes a real object. Otherwise, it's just pictures that we really don't experience. When they got to the moon, that changed everything. I feel the same way about here in a cave. You see lots of pictures and stuff, but once you get down here, you get a chance to experience it. When you get that understanding, and that makes it even a more precious item then.
You can find more information on Cathedral Caverns and all of Alabama's many beautiful state parks at alapark.com.
And an interesting historical tidbit about Cathedral Caverns, it was designated as a fallout shelter during the Cold War.
For 10,000 people.
That's a whole lot of people.
That's a big cave.
Good point. When Simply Southern continues, take a tasty detour off Interstate 65 as we stop by Priester's Pecans.
The versatile peanut, meat of the earth, friend of the soil, tasty, nutritious, packed with protein. And Alabama peanut farmers nourish some very special things: families, communities, and Alabama's economy. Peanuts. Good for you, good for Alabama.
Who drives your car? An athlete? A rocker? A dreamer? A survivor? A best friend? Alpha Insurance. As individual as you are.
Ugly brush piles cluttering your property? Introducing the all-new DR Chippers, now starting at an unbelievably low price. Chew up big branches that come down in storms and all the trimmings from your yard and garden. The new DR Chipper, now starting at just $699.99.
For a free buyer's guide and DVD, call 1-800-422-0482. Special pricing and free shipping are now in effect. Online at drchipper.com.
A farmer has to live on faith. We do all we can do, but we can only control so much.
Alabama is the second largest poultry growing state in the nation, so we're trying our best to grow all the corn we can for that.
What we produce not only feeds and clothes all of the United States, but about half of what we make goes on to the world market.
We've been able to improve yields, have some things that can help us produce a better crop. I'm proud of the product we make and proud that I can say I'm an Alabama farmer.
Alabama ranks 6th in the nation for pecan production, so it seems appropriate that the state's largest handmade candy company is known for its sweet pecan creations. Priester's Pecans has been in the shelling business since the 30s, and the iconic log cabin country store along Interstate 65 is a favorite stop for beachgoers who are looking for a little taste of the South.
The name Priester's has been associated with high-quality pecans and candies for decades. Cliff Burkett is part of the 4th generation now working in the family business, which started in a Texaco gas station as a partnership between the station's owner, Elsie Priester, and Cliff's great-grandfather, Hence Ellis.
With $200 a handshake, they formed a silent partnership. And from there, the business grew from a little Texaco gas station into what it is now. We were strictly mail order up until the 70s when we opened our first store.
While they still have a mail order catalog and a website where they receive orders from across the country, folks really love stopping by the Priester's Country Store in Fort Deposit. There you can peruse the gift shop, grab a bite to eat, enjoy an ice cream cone, watch from the second floor observation area as workers create all those pecan candies, and sample those creations to find your favorite.
I see the sugar-free stuff, and I generally eat the sugar-free, but the pecan log is one of the best I've ever had. So it was awesome. Everything's good. Just the cinnamon pecans, whew, that ought not be. That'll be a law against that. Lord, that is so good.
That's what I tell customers every day. I'm 28 and I've been eating this product ever since I could walk. It hasn't got old to me yet, and I don't think it ever will. Everybody loves our stuff when you break down to it, but you do have things like key lime that, if you love key lime, man, people keep asking, when are y'all gonna start making bigger bags of this? But we have something for everybody. Even went down to the roasted salted that everybody with a savory tooth loves.
And it's the Priester's Kitchen staff we have to thank for creating all those sweet and savory treats.
Yes, plenty of luck. All of it's handmade. Handmade. Yep. I like doing it though. It does make me very proud to work here. And I've been through a lot with Priesters, just like home for me. They're just like my family.
Most of Priester's employees have worked there for over a decade.
Whether it be it's a little kid or a grown adult, they know whatever they're doing can bring a smile to that person's face. And I think that joy keeps people coming to work every day.
Those Priester's employees were happy to show me a few tricks of the trade, from rolling pecan logs to creating the caramel-covered pecan centers for Priester's famous fiddlesticks, and scooping out dough for their mini pecan pies. But it was really impressive to see them work when this newbie got out of the way and let them do their thing.
On our mini pie, I can fit 1,400 of those per oven rack, and I can cook anywhere, depending on how many we need at the day, anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 a day, depending on what kind of crew I put together. Our fiddlestick candy, I think we sold 40,000 two-packs last year. We go through a lot of syrup, a lot of corn syrup, a lot of sugar, a lot of brown sugar, a lot of flour.
And Cliff sure hopes it stays that way for a long time as he works to carry on the family tradition.
Draws people in here, I think, number one, good product, quality product, and customer service. Those are the number one things that my family over the years has always expressed to me, is that if we're not making a quality product and we're not treating the customer like they're part of our family, then what are we really doing every day? It's a good pride. It's a humbling pride that we just keep it going and doing the best we can do to keep our customers happy and keep a quality product.
They were nice enough to give us some samples of a few of the things that I was helping make. There's the caramel pecan log, the mini pecan pie, the fiddlesticks, and that pecan divinity that you're already devouring over there. So how is that?
Divine.
I guess it's appropriately named.
Up next on Simply Southern, Singapore, Brussels, France, Cullman. We'll ride along as a group of international farmers tours the world's top agricultural centers.
One out of 4 Alabama residents have benefited from the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. Last year, Master Gardener Managed Gardens donated $150,000 worth of fruits and vegetables to food banks, and over 25,000 young people developed math, science, technology, and engineering skills through 4-H. Now what we want to know is, how can we help you?
Soybean is a very versatile product. We make crayons out of it.
A lot of the combines you see rolling through the fields have a lot of plastic side panels that are made from a soy product.
The soybeans that we grow on our farm mostly goes into chicken feed.
Soybean production in Alabama employs over 10,000 people.
We grow some of the best soybeans in the world.
We go the extra mile to make sure when our name is stamped on it, we know it's the best product we can produce.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
Being a catfish farmer to me means carrying on a legacy that my father started about 35 years ago. It's a good way to take care of the land and provide a nutritious product for people all over the world. My name is Mary QUITMAN Holmes. My sister, my father, and I own this farm, Lawson Catfish Farm, in Perry County, Alabama.
Earning a Newfield Scholarship is a prestigious honor for a farmer, with a limited number of awards presented annually on a global scale. Recipients get the chance to travel internationally to collect information for their agricultural research areas. And when a handful of these scholars visited the U.S., they stopped right here in Alabama to learn how our farmers do what they do.
When the Newfield farming scholars started planning their overseas educational trip, they knew just who to contact. Dennis Evans, a retired professor from Auburn University.
I have taken groups to Australia 3 times, and so I knew these people, and they just said, would you let us bring a group as part of their global focus tour? And I said, sure.
These farmers from Australia, New Zealand, and the Netherlands started their journey in Singapore and toured the Middle East and Europe for 5 weeks before arriving in the U.S.
So we went to India, and then we went through the Middle East in the Arab Emirates and Qatar. And then we've been through France and Brussels in the EU before coming to Washington and getting an understanding of American agriculture. And I think it's surprising that every context that you go to, farmers are facing the same challenge around the world.
Henry farms in a very dry region of Australia, getting only a fraction of the rainfall that Alabama receives each year. He says his impression of the state was based on what he's seen in movies.
My impression of the soils and that sort of stuff has changed. I assumed with heavy rainfall and sort of, everything looks green in Forrest Gump and all the movies we see that it was, deep topsoil everywhere. And yeah, some of the challenges Jeremy pointed out with sandy soils and runoff and stuff I wouldn't have ever considered. So it's been eye-opening.
Jeremy Calvert produces peaches, strawberries, tomatoes, and other produce on his operation. He says although their farms and cultures may be different, there are a lot of similarities in the way they make their living.
From the people that I've talked with today and other times when I've had tours, agriculture is always never going to be easy. Sometimes the challenges are just different, depending on where you live or what climate you live in. We talked to growers today who had large acreage and little rainfall to try to make up for little rainfall. Talked to growers today who had plenty of water but no land, and he's surrounded by people, and that's what he deals with. It's just gratifying to know somebody else still does what you do. You're not the only one.
The international visitors also got an up-close look at Alabama's forestry industry, something the Australian farmers don't see much of in the low plateaus of their country. The stop at Riverwood Farm included lunch featuring Alabama-grown foods, along with a tour of the pine plantations.
I hope they understand how the southern pine forest is an important part of our total agriculture work here in the U.S., and that growing trees is just like growing row crops.
Evans says farmers generally resist leaving the farm, but he says trips like this one are important, particularly for younger producers, to understand how agriculture is affected by events outside their fence rows.
And that's the value, is just picking up, and it makes you go back to your home and look at things afresh, a little different. Looks a little different, It just gives you a more worldwide perspective, and I think that's very important in agriculture today. We're in a global market, it's global competition, and you need to have a worldview.
In every business, whether it's farming or anything else, you can get so trapped into looking at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and you get so busy that you never get a chance to look beyond the farm gate. And it's been driven into me more and more everywhere I've gone, is that even if it's not an industry the same as mine, you need to do something different and need to think outside your local square. Every innovation we've seen has been someone that's come into agriculture and has done it differently, and they're the ones that are succeeding. It's not the person that is trying to keep doing what they're doing. You have to evolve. That's the only way to survive.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
Dennis Evans, that you saw in the segment earlier, has taken Auburn students all over the world.
And it's nice that now he's getting to show off Alabama to international farmers. And it just goes to show how many similarities we have no matter where we're from.
Sidney Phelps of Bonnie Plants joins us next on Simply Southern. He'll be here answering gardening questions submitted by our viewers.
There's nothing quite like sitting down to a home-cooked meal with fresh vegetables from the garden. With Bonnie Plants from your local quality co-op store, you can enjoy the freshest vegetables right from your own backyard. And no matter if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, your quality co-op store has exactly what you need to get the most out of your plants. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
What we eat, what we wear. It all starts somewhere. And if it's good, it usually starts with a farmer. And that somewhere is right here in Alabama. In a field, in a barn, on a tractor. Right now, there's a farmer starting something good for all of us. And it all starts right here in Alabama.
FFA makes a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education.
We're strengthening American agriculture and providing our members with the skills needed to build healthy local communities, a strong nation, and a sustainable world.
We are the next generation of agriculture.
It's our turn now.
Let's show the world what we can achieve together.
We are FFA.
For more Simply Southern, be sure to follow us on social media. And while you're online, visit our website, simplysouthern.tv.net. Simply Southern will continue in a moment.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie Plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Welcome back to Simply Southern. We're pleased to have Sidney Phelps with Bonnie Plants back here in the studio to answer viewer-submitted questions. So Sidney, thanks so much for being with us.
Good to be back in the studio with you. Sid, it is great to have you here. We've got a question here from Jonathan and Clo. What plants should I plant to get the most for my money?
It's a good question. It's something that a lot of people really struggle with, finding the most economic method of gardening. These days and age, you can go to the grocery store, you can pick up what you need and come home for a reasonable price. But if you're going to get into the garden, you want to find plants that are going to be prolific in what they produce. That's the best way to get your money out of it. And depending on what Jonathan's wanting to grow is really going to determine on where to go. So let's just start off in the early season crops. If you're looking at lettuce, spinach, things like that, they can be constantly trimmed. They will reproduce, so it's easy to get a lot out of that. So you've got fresh salad greens throughout until it gets hot. As it gets warmer and you start transitioning your garden, you want to look at your tomatoes, peppers, and those kind of things. Tomatoes, cherries are going to produce a lot. They're going to be really prolific. They're going to put on a lot, but they are a determinate style, so they're going to bear it all at one time. If you look at Bonnie Original, is another tomato that just loads down with produce. So those are two of my favored tomatoes as far as being very productive. If we're looking at peppers, you want to stay away from bell peppers. Everybody likes bell peppers, but the thing about that is when you go into the produce market and you see those giant bell peppers that you want to stuff or use, you have to, when you're dealing with a plant, you have to pull peppers off to get them that big. So you're not going to get that big pepper that you're looking for. So I would deter away from that. The banana peppers, sweet and hot banana peppers, or jalapenos, even habaneros are very prolific. They're going to put on a lot of peppers. You're going to have plenty of stuff coming through. So if you want to do salsas or if you want to grill them, roast, that's perfect for what you're doing. When you get into summer crop season, you get squash, okra, peas. Those are things that are always going to produce. They're very inexpensive. So that's kind of, if you have to lay out the garden as far as the season goes, depending on what you're wanting to put in, those are the items that you can use to really get the most out of your money.
Those are great tips. And now we had a question submitted through email, which is simplysouthern@alafarm.com. Denise from Birmingham wants to know, what are the best plants to repel pests?
Repel is not necessarily a word that I would want to say as far as when it comes to the plants. Preventative, I mean, repel, you have to necessarily have a thing that's going to keep them away. There's no guarantee that the plant is going to keep a pest away. Citronella or mosquito plant is a scented geranium. It's very popular. It keeps, people use it, but it's not the plant itself, it's the oils. When they crush it up, you can rub it. That's where your bug sprays come from. But it's a deterrent is what it is basically. Those are great to have around, same as lemongrass, peppermint, even rosemary. If you have pets, I know you've got a dog. Rosemary is great for pets. It keeps away ticks, fleas, and it's very fragrant as well. The more fragrant an item is something that's generally going to be aggressive to any kind of pest. So it's the oils is what it is. We talked recently about peppermint, how you break up the peppermint oil and it's the smell that deters the pest away. So mints, rosemary, lemongrass, citronella, those are all items that work really good in keeping pest away.
We have one here from Alan from Orange Beach. How often should I water and fertilize my plants?
Watering, you really just want to, if you're dealing with a container or a raised bed, stick your hand in there and feel it. If you feel moisture, it's okay. If it feels dry, add some water. Fertilization, depending on what kind of product you're using, 7 to 10 days is what we really generally recommend. It's pretty simple as that.
Sidney, thank you so much for being here with us today to answer these questions. And if you have a question for Sidney, drop him an email at simplysouthern@alafarm.com. Now, if he answers it on the air, we'll send you one of our new gift items that we have. There's this bird feeder that has Simply Southern on there. And we also have a new garden bag with garden tools as
I want one of those.
Yeah, you could probably find some uses for these things, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for watching Simply Southern today, but it's time for us to go. I hope you'll be back with us again next week to watch me jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Really?
Really?
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't want to miss that one even if I didn't work here. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. We'll see you again next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.